Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Tuesday, October 6th, 2020, and today I'm going to be talking about Joe Biden's post-debate bump. Now, I know I said that the national average, let me turn off my volume here so we don't hear Discord notifications. If you're wondering where they're coming from, they're from my Discord server. Check them out in the description down below. There's a link there. Moving on, we're talking about Joe Biden's performance. Now, I know I said that there wouldn't be a too dramatic shift nationwide, and what we see right now is a marginal improvement for Joe Biden. But any type of improvement in an environment where the Democratic candidate, Joe Biden, was already leading by 7% is significant. Let's take a look at where the numbers stand today. Well, actually, that's not the numbers. Let's take a look at the polling numbers. That was the Senate forecast. On the national average, Biden is now up 9% nationwide. Right before the debate, let's take a look at the polls on debate day. Biden was up 7%. Since the debate, Biden led by 7, which was already very strong. Everyone was writing articles about Joe Biden is the only one who has something to lose following this debate. Joe Biden cannot gain. He's already at a very significant point. And I was saying the same thing. I mean, yes, he is marginally improving, but I think it's significant because of the fact that Biden is already improving off an already astonishing margin nationwide. And we have, 28 days till the election, 4 weeks, and day after day after day. It used to be month after month. The Trump campaign was saying the race will inevitably tighten. Republican operatives are saying the race will tighten. There will be an October surprise. We've already seen 3 October surprises, one before October, none of which benefit Donald Trump. And if we're looking at the numbers now, following the debate performance, which was honestly just embarrassing for our country to have. Honestly, we probably won't see another debate, maybe one final presidential debate. The vice presidential debate, however, is tomorrow. I will be watching that, so that should be interesting. But you know, when we made that debate video and we were talking about the impact on the election, we weren't going to see too many things change dramatically. And what we see now is that Biden has shifted up 2% nationwide, 1.8% to be insanely accurate, but a 2-point shift in favor of Joe Biden practically overnight. Now, Hillary Clinton did enjoy a debate bump in 2016. Right before the election, we can take a look at where the numbers actually stood. And Hillary Clinton ended up on election day, according to 538's polling average, with 45.7% of the vote. Donald Trump had 41.9%. All in all, this is a roughly 3-4 point lead for Hillary Clinton, but it's nowhere near Joe Biden's 9% lead. And, the election was a tad bit narrower right before the election until the final day. Hillary Clinton rebounded a slight amount, but it wasn't enough to win the election, as we all know. But following the first debate performance or at least her consistent debate, victories based off the polls that we saw, Hillary Clinton did experience a bump. I mean, Trump's numbers dropped down to 38.9% at that point in time. Now, yes, obviously Trump has more support now just because there are less third-party candidates, but looking at those numbers, Hillary Clinton never enjoyed larger than a 6.5% lead over Donald Trump. I mean, she never was able to get him down to a point where Joe Biden has brought Trump down. Biden is up 9 points nationally, and it's not just here that Trump's getting hurt. It's not only on the popular vote, but nationwide in states that really matter. Biden is now up to an 83% chance of victory. For reference, in 2016, Hillary Clinton had a roughly 71% chance of victory. With the polls plus, it went up to 72%. Donald Trump had a 28% chance of victory, and he still won. But we all saw how narrow his victory was in those key 3 battleground states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. He had a 30% chance at victory roughly in 2016, which has now gone down to a 17% chance. From what was 28%, went down to 17% this time around. As the incumbent president, that's not a good look. You should not have had a better chance of winning your first election than you do right now. And the polls severely underestimated Donald Trump 4 years ago. This is a testament to actually how poorly he's doing. Because the polls were wrong 4 years ago, the pollsters have adjusted for their inaccuracies. They've come back stronger, and the forecast has adjusted for a potential Trump silent vote. They've adjusted for a number of things that they did not factor in 4 years ago. And guess what? Even with adjusting for Donald Trump's supposed ability to overcome the polls this time around, he's still at 17%. This is not the same model as the one used 4 years ago. And even then, 538 was probably one of the more accurate ones. They gave Donald Trump a much better shot than a number of other pundits. And if we're looking at the national numbers now, it's even worse. And there's a reason for that. This debate really did not reflect positively on Donald Trump. While it wasn't the final moment of the campaign season where we say, Biden is absolutely going to win the election, Biden didn't necessarily improve too drastically immediately after the debate. But now, whether it's a combination of Trump's COVID diagnosis and the debate, Biden's numbers have gone up. Let's take a look at the most recent numbers on Real Clear Politics. Well, Real Clear Politics, if you trust it more than 538, Biden's actually up by 9.2%. You can see there's a drastic difference between where they were right at this point. I mean, Trump was up at 43%. He's now down to 42%. Biden at that point was 49%. He's up to 51%. So like I said, a 2-point shift in favor of the former vice president. And in terms of the statewide numbers that we're seeing, well, it gets a little bit better for Joe Biden. Looking at these battleground states, Biden leads. He leads in Florida. This is a state where the Biden campaign actually has had a little bit of trouble. You know, Donald Trump was narrowing up the margin to a point where Biden only led by 1%. It even went down to being a 1.1% victory. And guess what it is now? 4%. Not only in Florida. Let's take a look at the state of Arizona. Arizona actually, has been okay for Joe Biden, but his numbers have returned to being close to 50%. He only actually enjoyed 50% in mid-September, and it was only 49.5%. Prior to that, there was not a single time where Biden had 50% of the vote in Arizona. Taking a look at Wisconsin, this is a state that Trump carried in 2016. Biden is up 6%. And like I said, you may not trust 538, but it's actually reflecting a lot of the data that we see here. Let's take a look at Arizona specifically. Biden is up 4% in Arizona, according to 538. If we head over to the Rust Belt states, these are super important, super pivotal for the Trump re-election bid. Biden's up 7 in Wisconsin. In Pennsylvania, Biden is up 7 as well. And in Michigan, this one actually might be 7% as well. Yes, Biden is now leading by 7% across all 3 Rust Belt states, by 4% in Arizona, and doing very well in a number of other surrounding battleground states. Taking a look at Ohio, Biden is the favorite to win there. Taking a look at North Carolina, Biden is the favorite to win there. Florida, Biden as well. In fact, Biden is now up to a larger margin than Donald Trump's in 2016. So keep that in mind when you take a look at that. And looking at the Senate numbers, the Democrats are actually at a better point because of Joe Biden's post-debate bump. Whenever Joe Biden's chances at winning the presidency increases, the Senate chances for the Democrats increase as well. Why? Because one of the more likely scenarios in the Senate is that it's a 50-50 tie. In the event of a 50-50 tie, the incumbent vice president's political party takes the majority. And obviously, if Joe Biden won, Kamala Harris would be the vice president, and the Democrats would take the majority at that point if there is a tie. And we can take a look at not just the national numbers, but at the betting odds. Biden has actually hit the highest point ever on national betting odds, the highest point ever. And that is pretty significant. The fact that he's receiving this debate bump in terms of polling numbers on top of being at the highest point ever. I'm going to make a video about this because I want to go deeper into the betting odds and look at the states that have actually moved even further in favor of Joe Biden that we really didn't think would happen. We saw it narrow up right after the RNC, and everyone was saying, Joe Biden and Donald Trump are going to be neck and neck. People don't want to lose their money, but people are even less confident right after that debate, and even more so now. So all in all, I mean, Donald Trump's numbers are not doing well on the betting odds. They're not doing well on the national forecast for the presidential election. The Republicans are paying the price for it in the Senate. And on the national level, of course, Joe Biden is leading by 8.8%. Now, this comes as a result of a number of new polls getting released. Survey USA has Biden up 10%. CNN has Biden up 15% and 16% amongst likely voters, which actually typically skews to the right. The University of Southern California has a new poll out that shows Biden up by 12%. Morning Consult has him up 9%. Change Research has him up 10%. So regardless of where you're looking, I mean, it's very hard for you to find a national poll where Biden isn't doing well. He's doing super, super well. You can take a look. The net result here, find a single point where Biden isn't doing too well. There are certain areas where, Biden and Trump have narrowed down, but there's not a single poll that you can point out where Trump is actually leading. I mean, I'm scrolling, and all you see is Biden plus very dramatic leads. And these are the national numbers. Now, if you don't want to look at the national numbers, like I said, Biden is doing very well in specific swing states. We can even take a look past the Rust Belt. Let's move across away from Arizona. Florida, Biden is up 3.4%. This comes as a result of the new New York Times Siena College A+ rated pollster that has Biden ahead by 5. The University of North Florida has Biden up by 6%, and Suffolk University has a tie. But I mean, you average the tie, a +5 margin for Biden, and a +6 margin for Biden as well. Biden, of course, runs ahead. So regardless of where you're looking, I mean, Biden is doing well. Not only is he doing well there, but he's doing well in neighboring Georgia, which is also connected coincidentally to North Carolina, where Biden is doing well. Obviously in Virginia, right up there, Biden is doing even better. So no matter where you look, Biden is taking the lead. He's taking the lead in Georgia now. He's taking the lead in Florida. He's returning to a lead in North Carolina. He's solidifying his leads in the Rust Belt, in Arizona. And we have 28 days to go. 28 days to go, and Trump's numbers have not improved. They're not better than where they were just 4 years ago. His chances at winning the presidency are not better than where they were 4 years ago. In fact, there is absolutely nothing indicating that Biden is going to do worse than Hillary Clinton, and there's nothing at all indicating that Donald Trump is on track to win his election. Now, obviously, what we saw in 2016 was in the final 2 weeks of the campaign season, Donald Trump turned the election around. But that was when we had in-person rallies and people were able to attend them in mass numbers. Obviously, President Trump is still going to hold in-person rallies, but against the advisement of many people who may be independent voters who may not necessarily want to attend a rally, may be afraid of COVID-19 that did in 2016, were convinced by Trump that are not convinced by him this election. And he really needs these final, just 4 weeks to make this election all about him, about what he has done for the past 4 years. What we've seen from Donald Trump is that his numbers have gotten worse and worse day after day. All we hear from the right wing is that the election will narrow up. That's all we hear about. The election is going to get closer. Trump is going to start leading in the Rust Belt. Take a look at this, cherry-picked poll. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter, because it's not averaging out. We're not looking at any significant shift in terms of the data towards Joe Biden, towards Donald Trump. In fact, it's shifting towards Joe Biden. So no matter how you cut this cake, Joe Biden is doing very well. And the fact is, today, with 51.4% of the vote, he leads by the largest margin than he did compared to August. That was the only time where Biden had a larger percent. But if we're talking about percent share of the vote nationwide, Biden is at his highest point throughout the entire campaign season. 51.4% has never been hit on the average by Joe Biden until today, and for 1 day in August. And, this is very bad for Donald Trump, given that we've had all this time for the election to narrow up. Even in 2016, the national odds narrowed up to a point where Trump was only running behind Clinton by 1-2%. And guess what? Trump has never come close in this election. This election is not 2016. Joe Biden is not Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump 2020 is not Donald Trump 2016. Back in 2016, there was the issue of the economy. There was the issue of Hillary Clinton's emails. There was the issue of Benghazi. There was the issue of the wall. Well, guess what? Healthcare was also an issue in 2016. Obamacare is still in place. The wall was not built. Yes, it's starting, in the best sense that we could call it a wall when, whatever they want to call that. I guess that's starting, but it's not built. Hillary Clinton's not in jail. The economy is in shambles right now. So what's the final promise? What is Trump's base really going to hold on to? Now, obviously, he's going to retain his 42% of the vote, but realistically, what is there that independents moved over into the Donald Trump column that he's held their promises? Now, obviously, he's had small promises. He's definitely packed the courts the best way that he could. He hasn't left a number of vacancies, and he's working with a very cooperative Republican Senate, and at a time, a Republican House of Representatives. But what we're looking at now is that Donald Trump's campaign promises, while sure, played well in 2016, you can't use the slogan, "Make America Great Again," if that makes any sense. And, COVID-19 obviously is a brand new issue. What we're talking about besides COVID-19, we're talking about the issues of gun control, women's rights, LGBT rights, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing. Obviously, the Supreme Court is super important to Democrats this election. So not only is Donald Trump hurting Republicans, obviously, on the presidential level, the White House seems to be very out of reach for Donald Trump at this point, but he's hurting them in House elections, governor elections, and obviously in the Senate elections, where this is going to be super important for the future of the Supreme Court as well, and the future of America. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already, and check out the Instagram and Twitter. At the bottom left of the screen, there's also a Discord link for you to go ahead and join. That's where the Discord notification came from earlier in the video. On the screen, there's a video you can watch, and then a playlist for my 2020 election videos. Again, that's just a playlist of around 200 videos that I've done throughout the years. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all later today.